welcome to Stuff from the Future. I'm Cristen, a writer and podcaster here at HowStuffWorks.com. And today I'm going to talk to you about the future of clothing sizes, specifically women's clothing sizes. Because ladies, I'm sure that all of you can relate. You go shopping, you go to one store, what do you know? You're a 4. That's great, right? You go to another store, what happened? You're an 8. How did you put on like 20 pounds between stores? It doesn't make sense. Clothing sizes are all over the place, especially for women's clothing, because for men it's still usually based on your measurements. But for women, we have these numbers, we have these A's, B's, C's, D's. It's a mess. So the question on a lot of people's minds is whether or not they're going to solve this problem, this retail problem, and standardize clothing sizes across the board. Because wouldn't that be so much easier if you could walk into any department store and just grab a size, whatever you are, and know that it's going to fit? Let's back up a little bit and talk about this issue of so-called vanity sizing, because the whole idea in retail is that the reason why these sizes have gone haywire is because of something called vanity sizing. Because obviously the average waistline in the United States has expanded over the years, so the thinking goes that what used to be, say, a 14 is now closer to a 10. That retailers are essentially flattering women, getting them to come into their stores because we like our lower size. Fashion insiders will tell you that that is not the case. It's actually more of a product of a dicey relationship between retailers and manufacturers that started after World War II, when ready-made clothes that you see in the stores began to be replaced from tailor-made clothes that were more of the norm before World War II. And the reason there were more standardized sizings before World War II and the retail takeover is because people used patterns, and the patterns were based on geometric proportions that were very concise. So when retailing became king, they did away with those proportional pattern sizes in favor of their own numerical sizes. But the reason why there's now so much variation is because manufacturers will determine how much fabric they want to put into different sizes based on the shipping containers, because most of our clothing now comes from overseas, and also because they need to save money, because if retailers are constantly ordering a bunch of size 10s, then they're going to make to that number and not make the smaller sizes. So it's more of a behind-the-scenes kind of relationship that's going on, rather than store X, Y, or Z trying to get you in the door. But the question that I initially posed was, what's going to happen in the future? How are we going to find clothes that fit? Because I admit, it can be a very frustrating process. So some malls are starting to institute kiosks where you can actually go and get a full body scan. And you step inside these body scanners that are not unlike the body scanners that you walk through when you fly on an airplane that the TSA makes you walk through. And in about 30 seconds, this body scanner will take, using radio waves, will take 200,000 different body measurements all over you to find out precisely your thigh circumference, your knee circumference, your elbow to wrist length, all these kinds of things to get you the best fitting clothes. And it will then match up your measurements with a database of branded measurements according to sizes from different brands, and see what you can expect to fit into when you walk into, say, a J. Crew or a Gap or wherever you like to shop. Because right now, if you have a 27-inch waist, pretty petite lady, you walk into Marc Jacobs, you're either an 8 or a 10. You walk into Chico's, you're a 00. Not 1 0, 2 zeros. It's incredible, the spectrum of sizes that are out there. But with the full body scan, you could take that information and actually know to go to the size 8 table at Marc Jacobs and head over to the infinitesimal 00 size at the Chico's. Another thing that's happening is some brands are actually starting to fit their clothing to shape rather than measurements. So Levi's jeans in particular is one brand that has experimented a lot with this. In their women's jeans, they have come out with something called Curve ID, which is more shaped for a woman's derriere than how much she is around her waist and her hips. Because as we all know, ladies, different ladies got different hips. So they're experimenting to see whether or not contouring to shape rather than contouring to size is the way for female consumers to find that perfect fit. And of course, even in the future, we can go old school and just get things custom made and tailored. But of course, that comes with a little bit extra money, which a lot of us in these cash-strapped times don't necessarily have. So if you're in one of those blessed malls with the full body scanner, it might be worth the small fee that you pay to finally get a perfect fit.
For more on this and thousands of other topics, visit HowStuffWorks.com. And don't forget to check out our other podcasts free on iTunes.